The NFL is back. First overall pick Caleb Williams leads an electrifying aerial attack in a big first win against Coop's vaunted Titans. Seahawk fans everywhere laud QB Geno Smith for an incredibly mediocre performance against the Broncos, insisting, "This is our guy." Tyreek Hill cannot be contained as he and the Dolphins narrowly escape in a big win over the Jags. Browns fans, thinking things can't get any worse, angrily changed the channel just in time to see leading MVP candidate Baker Mayfield throw his fourth touchdown in a commanding win over Washington. And Aaron Rodgers announces he would prefer to go back to only playing 2 snaps per game after the Jets' turbulent performance against the 49ers. All this and more on our Week 1 NFL recap here on Shmokin Hot Takes. Let's get Shmokin'.
Okay.
Shmokin.
KDawg. I'm very impressed by that.
That was good. That was so good. That, you know what I felt like I was listening to was on Saturday Night Live. They have, like the, what's his name, Colin Jost, and I forget the other guy's name. And they're kind of like reading the news, and it's all like, that's what that felt like in a very comedic
words.
way.
Yeah,
I've submitted a couple auditions to them. They haven't gotten back to me, but maybe we can send the recording of this over.
That had to have taken at least 15 minutes, right?
About 20. Yeah.
All right, KDawg's our new intro guy. That's settled.
Come on.
Or KDawg, you could write them and then you could send them out.
I like the rotation. I feel like we get something different every time.
Yeah, that was so good. That was smarter than any intro I've ever done.
That was, like my IQ was raised, I think, 10 points just listening to that.
Dude, I felt like I just kept finding more and more Easter eggs. Felt like
Right?
It's Easter. It's Easter Sunday, baby. But you know what? It's actually not Easter Sunday. It's football Sunday. And you've tuned in to Shmokin Hot Takes. Well, let's just do a quick round of intro in case there's any new listeners here. I'm Proph, and I got Coop.
Yep.
And then the genius behind the intro, KDawg. Woof, woof.
Yep.
Give a couple woofs to that intro. And then we're missing C-Dubs today. He is back. I don't know. He is recovering. I don't know if he'll be back with us next week, but he'll be back this week for C-Dubs Locks, which I'm excited to hear. I actually don't know. I don't remember all of his plays. I don't know how they landed this week, but I'll be excited.
Yeah, we'll have to do a recap or hear a recap.
Yeah, but man, it was a fun weekend of football. There was so much that happened and first Friday night football. That was fun. But I mean, a couple highlights. CMC not playing, or maybe you called a low light, not playing last night.
Jesus.
The Bengals losing to a team in the Patriots who I think we all had under 3 wins this season. Seahawks, 2 safeties in a row. Dak got paid. Congrats, KDawg.
I know,
highest paid player in the league.
Yeah, that was an exciting thing to wake up to on Sunday. It alleviated some worry for it. I feel like it completely, I don't want to say completely, but it changed the tone of the season quite a bit right away.
Yeah. Hey, how's Papa KDawg feel about it?
We haven't talked. He's currently on vacation. We haven't talked about it.
Oh.
I'm sure he's excited.
He's still mad about
Papa and Mama KDawg vacation action.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He did catch the game though. We agreed. Great win. We'll discuss more later.
We will discuss more later. Yeah, some crazy stuff happened though. I mean, let's just break down some injuries really quick. No pun intended there. For example, Russ didn't even play. Christian McCaffrey didn't play. Mm-hmm. Puka Sunday night, knee out, couldn't even walk off the field on his own power. Achan,
you can't help but feel that Coop kind of cursed him a little bit, right?
Coop, did you curse him?
Did you not call for his downfall this season? Like you did Cooper Kupp last season?
I did. I don't know, man. I think that's the coach's fault. It's like a re-aggravation type injury, I can't really put that on me.
Probably biggest injury of all though, Jordan Love.
Oh, yeah.
on the second to last play of the game, getting his knee blown out. Which I don't know. Everyone was like, the ankle, man, the ankle. I'm like, no, it's the
Yeah, I
knee.
didn't even notice. I'm glad you pointed that out because I saw the ankle. I wasn't even looking at the knee, but definitely saw that pop on
Yeah,
replay, you
it
know?
looked nasty. It was
So
so
I'm
bad.
surprised to hear that it doesn't seem like it will be that long of a timetable or, time off.
Yeah, should be. I think didn't they say week to week, which really
Yeah,
probably means like,
couple
and
weeks.
they're not putting him on the IR, so probably my guess is 2 to 3 weeks, right? So
Hmm.
at least it's not doomsday for Packers fans. C-Dubs seems to think it's doomsday, but I think
Yeah.
there's still a chance. I don't know what the Packers schedule looks like. We'll have to see who they got coming up, but
I mean, it's
never know.
it's not too bad, but at the same time, when you're starting Malik
Oh,
Willis,
actually, I
good
mean,
luck.
you got Colts, Titans, Vikings next 3
Oof,
weeks. That's
that's
not bad.
Vikings is doable, but Colts. You said wait. Oh, you say Titans or Texans?
Titans.
Oh, then that's very doable.
Yeah.
Any other big injuries that you guys can think of, at least on the offensive side of the ball? I don't know if I'm forgetting one.
No.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. So, a lot of surprises though. I mean, let's just jump into it. Let's just start talking through the games. Let's talk Thursday night. We had our first ever, or I shouldn't say first ever, first game of the season. Just Chiefs versus Ravens. Chiefs at home, taking down the Baltimore Ravens and that stanky O line, according to C-Dubs. 27, was it 27-20? I think it was.
It was 20. Yep. Ravens lost 20-27.
And I don't know about you guys, and I saw an interesting quote today that I was curious to talk mainly to you, Coop, about, just because you seem to be high on this guy.
Sure.
The coach, John Harbaugh, basically said, "Yeah, we didn't pick up D. Henry, the King, to get
Right.
to give him 30 carries a game." Which, in my mind, you got to give him at least 18 to 20. So I'm curious to see what you think about them only get. I think he got 13 that game.
Got 13 for 46. Had a
Yeah.
touch. I think it's just that Chiefs defense, that front line, dude. You got Chris
Jones was
going
all
against
over Lamar.
Rosengarten, who, UW guy, first game of his NFL career. Like, that's not fair.
Didn't they turn it over on his first snap? Like, they brought in.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what type of run game can you get going in that type of situation? This O-line's not gelling together, or it needs some time to gel. So I think Henry's only going to get more and more carries. You got the Raiders next, Cowboys, Bills, Bengals. Like, you're not going to play the Chiefs every week, so you're going to be getting more than 13 carries for sure. At some point, they're going to be leading the game and or trying to keep a lead, choose some time. So
yeah. Although, I mean, you do want to keep them fresh though. It's a long season. The thing that what I think about, I think one of the biggest things that Derrick Henry brings to the Ravens is when you're in, late in the season or in the playoffs, you're in a must-win situation. It's like 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. If you're a defense and you're seeing Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry in the backfield, good luck. I feel like that's the biggest thing it brings is like in a close game, end of the game. Like that's as difficult a duo to stop as I can think of.
Right.
Dude, what's crazy though? Like, speaking of keeping people fresh, Lamar ran 3 more times than Derrick Henry, and he was taking a beating. There was some plays where he doesn't slide. And it kind of goes to that point where he had this quote, which I think I think it came out Thursday, or it was either Wednesday or Thursday last week, where Lamar was like, "Yeah, we basically in the AFC Championship we couldn't run the ball because my body was just not prepared for that. Like, it just taken a beating from all the whole season." And then he said, "I hate throwing the effing ball." Or he said F throwing the ball or something like that, right? So
I mean,
it's just
I don't know
bad
if that
look,
was
man.
You're kind of trying to take a lot away from a quote, like a texted quote. Whereas like maybe he was just joking around that, oh, people think I'm a running back. I hate throwing the ball type of thing. I don't know. But I agree. It kind of pissed me off because it's like, dude, like I'm trying to defend your ass like every day of the week, and you're gonna be saying some dumb quote like that. I don't know.
Dude, I felt a little validated when I saw that. I was like, oh, it's like this is gonna make
I don't know.
Coop so mad.
I think
But
I'm just like not
funny.
gonna. My dog's out of that fight at this point right now. I mean,
You know,
if we talk about some of his missed throws throughout the game, I mean, especially at fourth quarter,
that Zay Flowers
tied
one,
up the game with Zay
so
Flowers.
bad.
And then I mean, even the play before that to Likely in the corner of the end zone, it's like I don't know. I can't.
I was just gonna say, like, speaking of like people that you got a dog in their court, or that's a ball in the court with the in the dog's mouth. You got Likely, you big on Likely, and clearly like the Chiefs' defensive plan was to hold Mark Andrews down, and I kept hearing I just thought he was blocking when I was watching the game, and then I heard some podcasts after the game talking about how I think Andrews had a higher route participation than Likely did, which was like surprising to see. But what that alludes to is just that Mark Andrews like was fine from the car accident and his injury, so to speak, and then it was Likely he was just an animal.
I think I like to use the term perfect storm a lot, I think. But C-Dub's brought up a good point. It's like, Mark Andrews had only really practiced with the team for 3 days. Like he'd been out for a couple of weeks because of that accident. Likely, if you think about it, has getting all these reps with Lamar. Like obviously they've built a game plan around who's available like during practice to practice these things. So like looking back, it was almost like too obvious to where like I should have been like, yeah, Likely's gonna get the ball. He's basically their second wide receiver option. There's nobody else behind Zay Flowers besides Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews wasn't there most of the time during the offseason or preseason, so I think it was kind of a perfect storm for him to just have that incredible game. And then I don't think he's necessarily going to replicate that, but he's definitely played his way into being
He proved his
part
worth
of that offense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So going forward, because I have two of my fantasy teams with Mark Andrews, I have to play both of them now.
You know what's funny about that is I'm kind of glad you do have them because I don't want to avoid. I would like to avoid the whole chaos of spending fab on Likely because I have a feeling in other leagues he's going to be a fab dump. So
yeah, I think he'll be worth it for sure, just because of how much they used it overall, and if now all of a sudden they're going to key in on Likely, they're just going to open up everything for Andrews. So. You're going to have to pick one of them. So one of them is going to do pretty dang good, I think, week to week.
Yeah. Yeah, then let's just talk about the Chiefs side of the ball really quick. Man, Rashee Rice looked really good. I think he was 9 for 103, something like that. He had a great game. Just running the same damn play over and over again, just into the slot.
I just want to get out in front of this.
Yeah, please.
I already texted in the chat. I was just like, I was totally wrong. Obviously, Rashee Rice is just like, I don't know about the alpha, but like a top 32 season, like he's gonna crush that for sure. Just seeing how involved he was during the whole game. Like,
did you make a bet for that?
I was completely wrong. I think so. Yeah, probably.
We'll have to check the recordings on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should have no comment.
And then Xavier Worthy is.
Yep, he's definitely worth it. Bringing it up. Yeah, he looked good.
Not very many touches, but 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, that couldn't have gone any better for him.
Dude, I think that's what. Who was it we were talking to? I think it was Broncos fan, and he kept saying that he was just going to get blown up at the line.
Right.
Funny how that works, right? You just put him in motion, and then you can't check him at the line, right? So,
exactly.
and then you can't catch him. So
yeah, I mean, what a great team for him to go to with Andy Reid. Just like
honestly, you must be pretty excited to get that.
Yeah.
Dude, the blueprint was already there. So it was just you needed a player to fit it.
In the spirit of recognizing our mistakes, such as Coop with Rashee Rice, I was kind of down about the Ravens, and I think they played well this game. I think Derrick Henry is going to be important for them. Their offensive line obviously needs improvement, but I think they showed here the Chiefs are still obviously the best team in the league, but I think the Ravens showed here that they're here to stay this season. I don't know if they'll regress as much as kind of what I was thinking in the preseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the defense still needs a little bit of work. But I agree. Yeah, the Ravens still like. I honestly think like a high. Well, I won't spoil my top 10 list yet, but
I just want to say I think we're very mature, and I'm excited for to hear where Prophet Jay comes to terms with his false ideas. You know what I mean?
well, Lamar isn't
Not
proven
not
to
ne-
be a good
not
passer in my
necessarily
head
this
yet.
not
So.
necessarily this game because I want to
I,
something's gonna come up.
I'm still willing to give him chances, but I mean, like when like a quarter of your yards come from a broken play to Isaiah Likely, well, yeah, not. And then the safe flat, like they could have won that game. And how about the fact that they were going to go for 2 at the end? Pretty crazy
I
stuff
like
in my
that.
mind.
I think something I noted. I just felt like the Ravens were just always playing to win. Like they were always behind and playing to get ahead, where the Chiefs were just like
Yeah.
they just kept going. It's just like they didn't really make mistakes. They didn't. They just were playing with the lead. And I don't know. This Chiefs team is gonna be scary this year.
Yeah, they're good. All right, let's move on to Friday Night Football. It feels weird saying that. So the Eagles took down the Packers 34-29 down in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Or no, was it? No. Where was it?
You're
Was
right.
that it?
Right. Yeah.
Dang, I'm good. It was just
It was all over the broadcast.
dude, the storyline, hey, come on, KDawg, give me some credit. The storyline here is like, I feel like it's the field, the Jordan Love injury, just sloppy football to start the game. Didn't the Eagles,
that was
wasn't it just a
bad.
turnover fest? I think
It was.
Yeah.
just like
Eagles,
the center and Jalen Hurts were not on the same page.
Yeah, I was kind of licking my chops when I saw the Eagles with starting out with 2 turnovers. I was like, yes, this is they're collapsing just as I thought they would. But then of course they turned around. They looked really good. I mean, Jalen Hurts didn't have a great game, right? But it's obviously Saquon did.
I was gonna say, who had a good game?
God. Yeah.
God, he looked so good.
I mean, as an Eagles, if you're an Eagles fan, you gotta be looking at that and like that. You couldn't have hoped for anything better. And speaking of, I mean, Roger Goodell couldn't have hoped for anything better. First game in Brazil, it's actually an exciting one. I know C-Dubs and the rest of us are kind of leaning towards the under, but this is kind of a shootout. This is a good game. Yeah, unfortunately for the Packers, they lose a close one, lose Jordan Love. They're kind of in big trouble. I mean, as far as a chance at competing for the division, I would say.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you have like the Lions, who are easily a top 5 team in my opinion, losing your star quarterback for 3 games isn't, that's going to hurt you at the end of the season. So in my mind, it's like, Lions have a pretty damn good chance of winning the division, and then hopefully, and I think they will, the Packers sneak into the wild card. Yeah, I mean, AJ Brown and Devonta both looked super good. Devonta was great in getting first downs, and AJ Brown is just such a deep threat. I mean,
dude, he's like everything
he's unstoppable.
I want DK Metcalf to be. You know what I mean? He like AJ Brown. He just plucks. I made a comment. He just plucks the freaking ball out of the air. Like I don't know. He's holding a piece of candy. It's crazy to me. And just had that 60-yard run for a touchdown.
Yeah,
to start the half.
Yeah.
Like that was just nuts.
Yeah, he's a beast.
So
what do you guys think of Eagles defense? I mean, I know it's
I thought it looked pretty good, to be honest.
I think they're still getting burned at corner a little bit. I mean, the guys are young, right? I mean, and they're facing a good wide receiver core, so you can't blame them too much. But
yeah, their defensive line was pretty outstanding, to be honest. So there's just like their secondary, Jaden Reed for 138 and a tutty. Like
he went nuts.
Yeah. Get loose.
They give both sides gave up big plays.
Yeah, for sure. But that was honestly what made this game fun. And until the last couple plays. So
anything on the Kellen Moore play calling that game from you two?
I didn't realize. Well, go ahead, Prophet.
Oh, it's just a quick comment. I was going to say I think his play calling was exceptional. Just handing the ball to Saquon and letting him do his thing. I could call that.
I think it was acceptable. No, I mean, I didn't realize how much I just despised Kellen Moore until I saw him on the sideline in an Eagles
Jeez.
uniform.
What the hell, dude?
It didn't occur to me, like in the offseason I heard, oh, Kellen Moore's going to Philadelphia. I was like, whatever. But once I saw him there in that green,
What a
with
180.
that Eagles hat on, I was like, ugh, God, I just
Wow.
can't stand this guy.
Wow. Okay.
But he did look
Alright.
okay his first game. I mean, do we really know much about how good Green Bay? They've never been known for having a great defense, right? I mean, they played pretty well in the
No.
playoffs, but other than that, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see about the Eagles are loaded with weapons, but I'm still not a believer in Jalen Hurts though.
Yeah, I just I really think this game wouldn't have been as close if those 2 turnovers happened. Like the way the Eagles offense looked after the fact, like after those happened, I think they would have ran away with this game.
But keep in mind though that
early, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure the Packers, after those 2 turnovers, the Packers went up only 6-0. They only got field goals. So if they convert those to touchdowns, then maybe we're talking about a different game altogether.
Sure.
My last question about this game to you guys is: did you see the halftime show?
I did not. I'm sure I can only imagine what you saw.
I saw glimpses of it, but now you've piqued my interest.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it was just like in the midst of the commercials, but it's
Is
worth
that-
a watch.
Is it not safe for work type of material?
No comment. Anyways, all right. Let's move on to Sunday morning football, and let's start with a spicy one. Let's go Steelers Falcons, because this is I think something that everyone wants to. They want to hear our opinions about, right? So Steelers with the upset of the century, 18-10, off of 6 field goals. Justin Fields starting at quarterback. And
we saw this coming, Proph. It wasn't an upset. We knew this was coming.
Well, I think I declared last week that I was picking the Steelers, but then I changed my vote to the Falcons as I heard.
Did you really?
Once I heard the Russell Wilson news,
that's fair.
I was like, I don't trust Justin Fields. But you know what I learned from this game is the Steelers defense is really damn good.
Yeah.
And Kirk Cousins is basically in a wheelchair. So
yeah, you're spot on the defensive call out. And I was spot off on how I thought this offense would look, honestly. Jesus Christ. Terrible, man.
Yeah, I think this game is a perfect example of let's not overreact to week 1. I still think the Falcons are going to have a good offense. This was a really hard scenario for them in a brand new offense going against a defense like the Steelers. I mean, they look bad, no question about it. Other than I think, some of us, including myself, rejoiced when we saw that Kyle Pitts touchdown. But other than that, not a good showing. But I'm still on the Falcons. They still should be the favorite to win this division. I think they'll pick it up. But if we don't see it in the next few weeks, then we'll start to, at least I'll start to kind of question that.
So how many more games of a Kirk Cousins performance like this do we get until it's like, okay, let him rest more and let's just give Penix a shot?
So here's their next 4 games: Eagles, Chiefs.
Tough.
They're going to be tough.
God.
The Saints after this week.
Tough. Still tough defense.
Tough. And the Buccaneers.
Oh Lord.
Oh wow. That is tough. I didn't realize that. That is tough.
I wish I never drafted Drake London. What am I
going
thinking?
into the season, you look at the Saints and Bucks, you're not too worried. But after this week, yeah. And then they got the Panthers. So
okay, well,
honestly, if they go 0-5 and then they're like, "Hey, Penix, go play the Panthers," that's like the best time to get his feet wet in the NFL.
Yeah.
For me though, let's remind ourselves too, week 1 across the board, there weren't a lot of great QB performances. Right?
True.
I mean, there were a lot of quarterbacks, including veterans, that were used to having consistently good games, made mistakes. So
yeah,
I don't know. I still think it's going to be okay. I like Kirk Cousins.
I think he was rushed into it. Like, I've been kind of perusing the Falcons subreddit. Kind of get the temperature on it, and a lot of them are really just like, what's going on? His drop back rate, or the rate from which they did the pistol was just crazy. I don't know. They're just saying he's not ready. I don't know. I think that's kind of why they drafted Penix too, because either someone high up knew
in retrospect.
Someone high up knew that this guy wasn't going to be ready, and that they needed someone Penix, who's the most NFL ready rookie quarterback, I think, to come in. So it'll be
I
interesting.
agree. I think I know we all were calling the Falcons morons, a few months ago, but I actually think it was kind of smart they took Penix after seeing this Kirk Cousins performance. I'm not super high. I'm pretty tentative on the Falcons right now. I'm looking to fade them, and I'm fading them for the next 5 weeks. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah. it's scary. And honestly, like, just to make a quick fantasy note, like, it's just going to be, in my mind, the Bijan Robinson show for the next 5 weeks, because we're just going to see, with any team that has a good pass rush, they're going to just be check down to Bijan. Because I just don't know. I just don't see Kirk Cousins being mobile right now. He just seemed too hesitant.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, we saw the Eagles. I guess we're getting into like future stuff. The Eagles have a good D line. Chiefs have a good D line. Saints have a good D line. Like,
Bucks have always been kind of sneaky good. Yeah, defense.
Yeah,
too.
so Kirk's is going to be kind of screwed next 4 weeks.
And the thing is, like, even if they put in Penix doesn't really move that.
Yeah,
well.
he wasn't really known to be
better,
too mobile,
but he's definitely not a great mobile quarterback either. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's looking grim for the Falcons,
dicey,
honestly.
Man. For my Super Bowl champs.
Dude, we should have looked at the schedules. Hilarious. What were we thinking?
I mean, I did, man. I just didn't think the Saints and Bucks surprised me this week. Maybe I'll talk about that later. You know what I mean?
Well, let's move on. Let's go to Buffalo. So, spicy game between the Bills and the Cardinals. Great offensive performances by both teams. Well, not for all players, but we'll get to that. 34-28, Bills beat the Cardinals. Cardinals were up, 17-0 at one point?
Yeah.
And then Bills climbed back. I think was it all in the second half?
They went nuts.
Be extreme. But they climbed back 17-17, and then, ended up winning the game. I think the headline here, Marvin Harrison, MHJ, was held to, was it like 10 yards?
Who's
that? One catch for 4 yards, I think.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You guys did see that clip of him being wide open at the end of the game, right?
Oh, I didn't see it. No,
I did not.
Yeah, I think it was the Cardinals. I didn't see it. I saw it out of context, but I think it was the last drive where the Cardinals had a chance to win the game. Marvin Harrison Jr. was just wide open down the field. Would have been a touchdown, but
didn't see him. Huh?
Kyler didn't see him. Yeah.
Is that because he was too short, or because he wasn't looking?
I think. Yeah. Well, probably a combination of both.
Okay. Quick shout out to my boy Khalil Shakir, scoring a touchdown in his first game as wide receiver 1 for the Bills.
I hate you because I knew you were gonna do something like this, because I was like, "Where is the love, bro?" Because I was expecting you to just go crazy in the chat for this, but no, you're gonna save it, huh? Go off.
No, there's another reason why I didn't say anything. So, and then
really,
James Cook was cooking. I think he looks pretty decent. I'm not surprised by James Cook having the amount of carries.
I mean,
just because
Josh Allen, though, is a story. I mean, he's just carrying that offense by himself. Like, it's kind of crazy. I don't know
turnover though.
Sure, but I think he had 4 touchdowns this game.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of feels like he's just putting this team on his back.
Oh, he did. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. Jeez,
yeah.
I didn't see that.
I don't know that that's going to be sustainable. I mean, we always worry about Josh Allen, right? I mean, the amount of times he plays like a running back.
Well, let's keep in mind. Yeah, let's keep in mind the Cardinals' defense is crap. So
true.
So yeah,
I will say that the Cardinals' offense looked pretty good. So I rescind some of what I said at the start of the year. Their offense looked pretty good here.
Yeah, I mean, they need to get Marvin involved, and I also think they need to get Trey McBride involved more, which is maybe what Coop was going to say.
He had a pretty good game, though.
Exactly. No.
He had 30 yards.
Oh shit! Okay.
5 for 30
touchdown.
530.
No, I thought he was better. My bad.
I think I saw a quote. I can't remember, but Gannon was like, "Yeah, like they were like double teaming McBride. Like he's definitely going to get more." No, actually, never mind. I saw that about Kincaid. So that doesn't help. But I expect McBride and I mean, it was the first week. Don't panic. Harrison and McBride. Honestly, Trey Benson, when he had the ball, kind of looked pretty good.
Yeah, he looked good, didn't he? I was really impressed with his couple carries.
He's a lot bigger than I expected. So
Yeah, he's a big
I'm
name
excited
again.
to see when James Conner goes down, just how good Trey Benson is going to be.
You say it like it's prophetic.
It's
You said
know.
when. You
That
said
was a little,
when,
that was
not
a little
if.
curse. That was a little curse I put on.
Stop cursing
James,
people, bro.
James
I
You
mean,
gotta
Conner.
chill with that.
put the guy on the bench. I don't know. I've never been a James Conner fan. He's just
Dude, he looked
I
good.
haven't
He
either. It
looked
was
really
weird
good.
because for a long time, I just remember James Conner not having any fan, only haters. And then sudden last year, he became some like, I don't know, idol to the Reddit hive mind. It was just weird.
I don't know.
I agree.
I
I'm
feel
not
like he was.
I think he deserves respect.
I feel like I don't know. I'm not a fan, but maybe
Why?
I'm just.
He's a
biased.
bell cow, man. 16 for
I
50,
feel like
good through the air. Like
He's
I feel like he was
not.
just disappointing for a couple of years, and then I hadn't came off of that. And maybe he's better now than I
didn't
think
he
he
have
is.
cancer? Like, come
He
on.
did. All right, you don't need to bring
Give the
that
man
into
some
No.
credit.
Didn't the guy die last year and not, or the year before and not even get comeback player of the year? So who cares?
Yeah, because he didn't play football. That's just
He played enough for me to give it to him.
should have given it to him the year prior for coming back to life. How about that?
Oh,
All right. Enough of this. All right. Coop, you ready to talk about your Titans?
let's do it.
All right. 24-17, Bears come back to beat the Titans. They were also down, I think, 17-0, weren't they? At one point in this game too, and then
They
put up
were.
24 unanswered and sealed it off with a kiss of a pick six to win the game.
I think.
Oh,
I think
beautiful.
the Titans coach was
Poetic.
quoted as saying, like, after we went up 17-0, we would have had a better chance of winning if we just punted it on first down every time.
I didn't see
Bears
that
scored.
quote,
Ouch.
but I did see something where he came into the game basically like with every opportunity for Levis to succeed, like the easiest cupcake, like don't screw this thing up type of like scheme, which we saw happen. Their defense executed, played extremely well. The Bears couldn't do anything all game, and then Levis just like it served it up, you know. So it sucks when you pick the Titans, and like going into half, I was like, feeling high and mighty,
Yeah, of
texting the
course.
chat,
Yeah.
throwing in my little Levis gif, and like
It
I
sucks.
don't know, man.
I think I went back and counted this morning, Coop, because I was thinking about this. Like, you picked at least 3 teams, maybe 4 teams that had at least a double-digit lead and still lost.
Yeah.
I think you had
Yep.
3 or 4 of them. So
I
that's a
didn't
tough
realize, because I did not watch this game, I didn't realize they scored no offensive touchdowns. It was all on either defense or special teams.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Hey, which,
I mean,
like, imagine if you're a Bears fan, though. Like, you took your number 1 pick overall, Caleb Williams, and he throws for 93
Right.
yards in this first game. And you're also your wide receiver that you took in the first round is now injured and has a knee. I think they came out and said a knee sprain, basically.
MCL sprain. Yep.
Yeah. And then Keenan Allen is also hurt. And you're left with DJ Moore and a guy who can't throw more than 100 yards with 3 amazing offensive weapons. So I'm nervous if I'm a Bears fan. I'm actually pissed.
Well, do you guys think it's more the scheme? I didn't watch this game closely, but I mean, if you're only throwing for 93 yards on 29 attempts.
I mean, they didn't really do anything on the ground either. So
I think
maybe they got to let him open it up a little more.
It's pretty good. But it kind of stinks that the story of this game is just like it's all about Levis and how he kind of screwed the pooch type of thing. And if they had won, we would have had this glorious, just like, oh, Caleb Williams is not that guy. Like, like we were robbed of that because Levis sucks ass cheeks. All right, get him off my team.
he's so bad. He's not good.
I feel obligated. I feel obligated to mention that Tony Pollard had a pretty good game here.
Tony Pollard looked awesome.
I agree.
He did, yeah.
And I thought there was going to be. I did see a quote today that essentially said they want to get a more even split between Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, excuse me.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the stats.
Why?
16-4 this time, but they both
averaged.
But why?
Tony Pollard looked good.
I mean, they both averaged. Actually, Tajay Spears averaged 5.2. Pollard had 5.1.
Yeah, he's got more juice when he's getting rested more. But I thought Tony Pollard looked good. I wish he was like this for the boys last year.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I think he scored like a 25-yard touchdown or something early in the game, and I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Where was this?
Yeah. So honestly, I'm nervous for the Bears. I'm also nervous for. Well, I already knew the Titans were bad. So.
Yeah, most of us knew that.
And Calvin Ridley did Jack Diddley squat. So. That's unfortunate. 3 for 50.
Yeah.
Not going to do
it. Hopkins was working off his knee, so it didn't help.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Sad Titans fans. Sad bear noises. Roar. Sad bear noise. All right. Let's get to the grossest game of the week. Let's go to the Patriots versus the Bengals. Bengals lose 16-10 at home.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Just an absolute catastrophe. Fun fact, took out 50%, I think it was about 50% of survivor leagues. Well, 50% of participants in survivor leagues, I should say.
That's pretty accurate to ours too, huh?
And that is exactly accurate to ours, as we officially have lost KDawg and C-Dubs.
Yeesh.
Which was funny because I remember early on in the week we were talking about our plays, and C-Dubs was like, I think Coop and I were talking about who we were taking.
Yeah.
And we were taking a little bit more of a risky pick, each of us. I ended up switching to something less risky, but I think you stuck true. And C-Dubs was like, nah, don't do that on week 1 survivor pool. You don't know what's going to happen. Just pick the obvious choice.
Right.
And, C-Dubs MVP pick laid an egg.
It's amazing that the Bengals not being good the first couple weeks of the season has continued, right, against this team that we expected the Patriots to be, if not the worst team in the league, one of them. But they go out, their defense dominated the Bengals. I mean, Joe Burrow had a pretty lackluster game, couldn't get much on the ground. For me, the Bengals, like, I'm kind of dropping them quite a bit. Spoiler, I guess. I've dropped them from 6 to 16 in my power rankings.
That's fair, dude. I believe it.
I mean, they're just like at this point, they got to prove it. It's been 2 years since we've seen them be good. So, I mean, their defense is bad. You know, I mean, the Patriots have not a great offense, but Bengals defense, I saw they were like 31st in the league last year. I don't imagine that's gotten much better. Their offensive line is still struggling. Bengals might not be very good this year.
Honestly, I'm okay with that because, and also just like the fact that Jamar Chase didn't play in camp or didn't practice in camp. T. Higgins is now injured. Like, Zach Moss ain't really a stud at RB. Like, I don't know why we've actually been really gassing up the Bengals. Like, thinking back,
I think it's
just throughout the preseason.
I think it's Joe Burrow. I think it's that offense. But I don't care if Jamar Chase didn't practice. I don't care. They're Joe Burrow against the Patriots. Come on, he should be able to do more than this.
Go for it, Coop. I think you're probably gonna say the same thing I was.
No, I don't know. I was just gonna say I want to join in on this, showing how far they fell in my ranking. I had them at 7, dropped them to 17. So like, you have to at this point.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, like, I feel like all the red flags were there. Like, hindsight is such a kill. Like, I love hindsight.
Right.
But it's so telling. I mean, Jamar Chase holding out, T. Higgins hamstring. Everyone's on the Bengals to win this game, type of thing. Everyone thought Patriots would be ass. So like, hindsight's all there. Like, they weren't. I don't know. It's just
the Bengals no longer deserve the benefit of the doubt to me.
And I think it's because we hear like T. Higgins hasn't been anything in a few years, or like he's injured all the time. So, but I think it's just that Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase trio, we just expect to go out and dominate week to week. And when they can't, when their O-line doesn't hold up or their defense is terrible, and I don't know. And the Bengals did everything wrong this game. Like, how many turnovers they had, how many fumbles, punt fumbles, and like the Patriots were perfect. Every aspect of the game, they just capitalized on everything. And when a team's playing to perfection and the other one's just like struggling to even stay afloat, like, this is gonna happen to any team. It doesn't matter if you're the best team in the league, playing the worst team in the league. If one's playing perfect, like, just
any given Sunday.
Exactly.
I attribute a lot of that just to like head coaching. Like I just think
You think
I don't want to
Gerard?
like I don't know anything about
Yeah.
the actual. Yeah, I do. I actually think he's proven that he can be a great head coach. I don't think like obviously we don't know what goes on in that locker room, but I mean when I give a lot of credit to your head coach when you have not nearly as many great assets around you and you still can knock out a good team. Like we didn't see the Panthers beat the Saints. We saw them just get rolled over. I'm not saying anything about Dave Canales, but I don't know.
Right.
And I want to give a special shout out to Ramondre. Popped
Yeah,
off
guy
this
balled
game,
off.
25 for 120, and I think he had one tutty, at least on the ground. I don't know if he had any in the air, but dude went nuts. Was basically this whole offense. So
Yeah, I was a little disappointed not to see any Jalen Polk that game, but
yeah, he only had one catch,
it's all good.
but I don't think that was their game plan. So,
No.
and honestly, with Jacoby, I don't really blame him. So, all right, let's move on. Let's go interdivisional AFC South. We got the Texans who beat the Colts 29-27.
Great game.
A-Rich went nutty on just bombing the ball. He had, I think, 9 completions for
9, dude.
a ridiculous amount of yards.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I'm glad you did. Yeah, 9 completions for 212 yards, which is just insane.
He was good on the ground too. He ran for 56 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, I didn't honestly. To be honest, I didn't watch this game, so I don't really know the headline here. But I think between A-Rich and then also like Mixon, kind of went nuts, and they gave him a ton of volume, 30 carries.
Honestly, yeah. That was surprising to me. Who would have thought he'd get 30 carries? And he did well with it too.
Yeah, I was hanging out with some of the boys, and the consensus was just like, we all thought Joe Mixon was kind of washed. Not gonna lie, like coming out of the
I definitely
Bengals,
did.
like I'm just that maybe this is his one big blow up game, but he's always had like one big 3 touchdown game to like inflate his fantasy numbers. But I mean, this is the first game of the season. He puts up 159 yards. That's crazy. And A-Rich's stats kind of pissed me off because I was a hater. I still kind of am. And he goes out and goes 9 for 19. If I look at those stats, I'm like, yo, that sucks. But then I see 212, 2 touchdowns. Like, it's very bitter, like kind of bittersweet because obviously he balled out, and a lot of his throws were kind of dots, like to Alec Pierce. I think he had like a 65-yard bomb. That was gross.
To me, it's still a big red flag, though. Like, even though it worked out this game, like you got to be more efficient, or you're not going to win games. Like you can't do that every game.
True.
At least he finished a game. I feel like that's the biggest story here.
That, and it also scares me from a fantasy perspective to have some of these dudes, because if they don't get that big bomb of a play, then they're kind of duds.
I mean, I'm down. I know I'm down on
Pittman.
Yeah, Pittman. Yeah, I mean, shit. If they're only completing 9 passes a game, like we got to be down on these receivers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to. That kind of goes against my fantasy philosophy of the just rolling somebody out just for hope. It's kind of like betting on an anytime touchdown. Like it obviously doesn't work all the time.
Right.
So
something funny to that I noted. I'm like keeping track of all these stats and stuff in an Excel, and their RB2 is right now is completely unknown because they didn't have any other running back run the ball besides Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. So
who's on the depth chart?
That's interesting.
I don't know, but just looking at stats, they only had Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor with rushing with carries.
Yeah,
so
that's interesting.
I feel like we got to mention too Diggs's 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of low on Diggs, but like a year ago at this point, we would have probably put him as a top 10 receiver, and now all of a sudden he's the third option on an offense only a year later. That's going to cause some problems for defenses. I mean, even if he's lost a step, like he excels with like route running, getting separation. If he's the third guy that teams focus on, I mean, he's going to have a big year.
Yeah, and it might just be what he showed, where he had just the short game stuff, 2 touchdowns. I mean, 6 for 33, so he's getting short yardage stuff. Where Nico Collins 6 for 117. He's getting those deep down the field. I was hoping to see a lot more out of Tank Dell, but I think they just kind of missed a few shots to him. But I mean, Diggs might just be that goal line quick slant type of guy this year, getting a lot of tutties. So
yeah, Nico Collins did not get affected by the curse of the new contract. He was he's clean to go. Yeah, I think honestly both these teams are pretty great. C-Dubs mentioned the Super Bowl runs through Indy, which I don't know if I buy that, but
I think that was when Indy was up a tutty.
Yeah,
so
I think
we'll
so
have to
too.
ask him.
We'll see what he thinks.
Now, yeah.
All right, let's go on. Let's go down to Florida. We had Jacksonville lose 20-17 to the Dolphins.
That was tough.
And Tyreek Hill, he was gonna have a big game when he got arrested beforehand or got detained. I guess he didn't get arrested. He got detained, which was, I think he got a ticket I think he was speeding, and then
I
he
thought it
was
was like he was visually going faster than 60 miles per hour is what the cop was like quoted saying. Like not even clocked it over 60. So
yeah, and might have already had the touchdown celebration of the year when Jalen Waddle came and put the handcuffs on him and walked away. That was pretty funny. It's good that he's good spirited about it. But yeah, big drama here because not Tyreek, but Achan's hurt, Mostert's hurt. Jalen Waddle was out for the game for a period of time and then came back. I guess he was ruled okay. I think they thought he had a concussion for a second.
Yeah.
So just kind of a weird game from the Miami side. The O-line, C-Dubs wanted us to mention that he thought the O-line was he thought it looked trash. Tua, for all intents and purposes, looked pretty good. 338 yards, a touchdown. Coop, I know you're the biggest hater of Tua. Do you feel like he proved his worth, or do you still feel like he's overvalued or under?
Came from, but
came from an 80-yard bomb to Tyreek.
No, I'm saying I don't know where like the hater thing came from. I think he's fine.
Yeah. What do you mean? You've been talking so much about how he's overpaid, and
I think
he ain't
I think all these
quarterbacks
are overpaid.
You think Dak's overpaid?
Yes, absolutely. Nobody should be making $60 million a year. That's just outrageous.
You think Pat Mahomes is overpaid?
No, not really. But that's because he has 3 Super Bowls. That's not even the same conversation here.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, I don't know. I picked the Jags, so I'm a little salty. I think the Dolphins weren't anything special. The Jags should have won this game. I don't know. I don't really have much to say, to be honest. BTJ, this is just for C-Dubs. You got to give him a little shout. He's here to stay for sure.
How about Gabe Davis being the Jaguars' leading wide receiver in yards? I think that's pretty funny. I think my biggest concern is around T-Law and against Dolphins defense that I don't think is all that great. Only threw for 162 yards and 12 completions.
Yeah,
like that's just not going to win you games. Like that's gross.
He kind of fooled me again this preseason for some reason. I was like, he looks a little different. I don't know. I don't think he does now. Whatever.
Yeah. KDawg, you got anything on this one or nah?
Not too. I mean, I think we were all surprised to see that this is more of a defensive game. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good. This felt like a very even matchup to me. Like just two kind of second tier AFC teams. So yeah, I mean, it was a good game. Good for the Dolphins. They finally beat a decent team.
True.
It'll be interesting. But both these teams still have to prove it this year. It'll be interesting
for sure
to see.
Shout out Tank Bigsby and his 12 carries for 73 yards too. That's cool to see.
True. Oh, and also Raheem Mostert sucks. Just like I said, I feel like you guys are going on.
I'm still coping. Because I have him in every redraft league.
Yeah, Proph took him in what, 7 leagues or something?
No, just 3. 3. Just all my redraft leagues.
He's like, he worked perfectly for my hero RB strat.
It did. And then my hero RB in one league died, and that is Christian McCaffrey. So I have no running backs. All right, it doesn't matter. We're not here to talk about my fantasy teams. All right, Saints Panthers, we had to get to it eventually. 47-10. Saints absolutely destroy the Panthers, who I'll admit I claimed would be second in the division, and I thought would be a big bounce back. But my God, honestly, I didn't even watch this game, but just from Bryce Young throwing a pick in his very first pass attempt is alarming. The fact that Derek freaking Carr threw, I mean, I guess 200 yards isn't anything to freak out about, but like Kamara, unstoppable, 15 for 83. And I mean, where do we go like with the Panthers? Because they just got blown out by a team that we all had finishing, I think, bottom 5 in the Saints.
I had the Saints at, let's see here, 30.
And where do you have the Panthers?
I had the Panthers at, let's see here, 26.
Yeah.
So I think it's crazy because I think the Panthers are exactly who KDawg thought they would be, and I think the Saints are exactly who KDawg thought they would be. And that's just saying that the Saints are kind of going to be probably 9-8, and that's how bad the Panthers are, because when you see Derek Carr throw for 3 tutties, I mean, he was like 85% completion percentage. Like, we're not going to see that from him probably ever again. So that's how bad the Panthers are, and I am completely off them until they prove me otherwise, which might be in like 5 years.
Damn. All right. Yeah. KDawg, you want to say anything about the Panthers, or you just want to do you want to just brag? You can brag.
I don't have. No, I already bragged to you guys off screen, but the Panthers, they're terrible. Bryce Young is an extreme bust.
What a whiff! God,
I mean, man, it looks bad.
Yeah, they could have.
I will say,
bro.
the one silver lining is the Panthers, they do have a favorable schedule going forward. If Bryce Young's going to prove it, he has to do it soon, and they do play some weaker teams coming up. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, he looked pretty terrible.
I don't think I think if he doesn't turn around this year, he's done. I think they're gonna give him the who is it? Josh Rosen. I think they're gonna give him the Josh Rosen boot.
At this point, there's like literally no improvement. So if that continues, there's no way he's back.
I think it still just might be his O-line. I don't know, man. Like, I can't say it's his weapons at this point, because I think Deontay Johnson's a good enough wide receiver improvement, and like Thielen and Leggett. But I can't claim to know how good his O-line is. I think they were pretty bad still. So I still want to give him some time, but I mean, they're not going to win any games to me, but I'll give him some time.
All right, let's just quickly blast through another gross game. Vikings versus the Giants.
Oh, baby.
Vikings 28, Giants 6. Sam Darnold cooked on these mofos, and Daniel Jones just looks awful. Yeah. He looks so bad. There's nothing to be said about it.
Did you watch this game?
I did watch a good chunk of it. I went to the Seahawks game. I went to the Seahawks game, so I didn't get to watch the full game. And my girlfriend, who is a very loyal Giants fan, asked me to turn it off after about a quarter and a half, because I kept giving her very negative updates about the performance of Daniel Jones. So yeah, I don't know. The Giants look miserable. Daniel Jones looks awful. I will say the one good thing, Malik Neighbors actually looks pretty. I thought he looked pretty darn good in this game. Like, he was taking advantage of open areas in the zone that the Vikings were, the defense, and so he was finding out, outlets to get the ball. But yeah, Daniel Jones is. I'm getting to the point where I'm tired of defending him, similar to how Coop is tired of defending Lamar.
All right,
we're at the same tier of quarterback, so.
I thought you were gonna say Levis, and I was gonna be like, okay, yeah, that's fair. But
yeah, enough said. I don't need to talk for the Giants anymore. The Vikings, I thought, actually looked surprisingly okay, and I thought their defense looked pretty good.
Yeah, too. I think I mean, I guess we're gonna talk about surprises, but I think Vikings, I was really down on them. I thought Darnold was gonna be pretty bad. But you have to remember what's around him. Like he's still got a great Vikings great defense. He's still got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. I know he got hurt, but it's not like you have lack of weapons. Aaron Jones went kind of crazy.
Yeah, I kind of was down on it. I was super down on Aaron Jones this year.
So
actually.
I think as long as Sam Darnold plays pretty reasonably well, like this team might be pretty decent.
Middle of the road. Yeah.
Yeah. Or above. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the Giants, I don't know if you guys have heard this stat that since Daniel Jones signing his $160 million contract in last offseason, he's thrown more pick sixes than he has touchdowns.
Oh, that's
just like,
so bad.
That's one of the worst stats I've ever heard as far as it reflects on a player. There's nothing like this out there.
All right, I got two questions. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, this is off topic. I was gonna say, I was just looking at the box score. Myles Gaskin had a carry this game for the Vikings.
Hey, for the Giants?
For the Vikings, he had one carry
for the Vikings.
3 yards. And that's
my man. He's getting the game.
Carry since he didn't have a carry last year. So
good for him. Good for him.
Just so my two questions, just because we just talked about them, Panthers. So Panthers versus Giants. Let me see if they even actually play. I think they might play.
They probably do because they're 2 last place teams, I think.
Yeah, so they play week 10. Right now, who you guys got?
Oh, you know what? I saw a meme about this. They play in Germany, actually. And the meme was like, "This is Germany's last punishment for."
Oh no!
For World War II.
No, they should boycott that game. That's so bad.
Yeah. Who we got? I guess.
Give me Giants.
I think I got Panthers. You're not going.
I don't know, man. That's gross.
The second question: are they moving? Who's starting next week for the Giants? Like, are they gonna change the quarterback? Is it gonna? Be
no, they already said Daniel Jones is starting.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah. But
it'll change soon.
When the Giants come to Seattle here soon, and I will say both my girlfriend and her family, they're calling for Drew Lock already.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, they're calling for him already, which honestly would be kind of cool to see Drew Lock return as a starting quarterback to Seattle.
Yeah, I got to go.
I think that'd be cool.
Quick then, in my dynasty league. So I just dropped him for Ryan Tannehill because I thought the Packers would sign him.
And here's the crazy thing too: we might run into a similar situation that happened with Russ last year with the Broncos, where if Daniel Jones gets injured, I think they have to fully guarantee his contract. And if not, they can bench him. And essentially, I don't know how the exact amount of money that they would owe him figures out to be, but it would be not the full contract. So if they were wanting to move on from Daniel Jones next year, that we might see that later in this season. Probably sooner rather than later because the guy seems to be kind of injury prone.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to crush his soul in week 4.
I wouldn't be surprised if Drew Lock's in there by week 4, honestly.
You think so? After the Browns?
I don't think it's going to take long.
We'll see. All right.
Drew Lock is injured, so it might just keep that in mind.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Chargers beat the Raiders 22-10.
Chargers have a good defense. Is that what's happening?
I feel like we still have a lot of question marks about these teams.
I think it's crazy because I had the Raiders, and I think this game went exactly how Jim Harbaugh probably dreamt it would, like going to sleep that night. Like he just pounded the freaking ball behind Joe Alt. J.K. Dobbins, good to see the Doblin back, baby. 10 for 135 and a touch.
Yeah,
like, that guy looks pretty dang good out there. I guess Edwards, I don't know who that is anymore. What were you saying, KDawg?
I was just gonna say, I think if you're the Chargers, if they can play good defense, run the ball, and then Justin Herbert is kind of your second option on offense, I think this is a playoff team, honestly.
Hot take.
I kind of like it.
Ring the alarms.
I really do. Because you have such a good quarterback back there, like you're saying, second option. It's just like, okay, hey, the run game, we couldn't get the ball, couldn't get the first down running it. We'll just throw it to Lad McConkey or whatever and get the first with Justin. I think it's just a great game script to like. I don't know how well they do if they start getting behind. Like we'll see once they play the Chiefs in week 4. That's gonna be a big test, just to see how this kind of game plan works in that situation. But
I did see a cool stat because Coop, you were mentioning Joe. It sounds like I think there was he didn't let up any pressures to Max Crosby, which one of the best defenders in the league. So that was pretty cool. It's cool to see these young O-line players come in and make an impact immediately. And honestly, Herbert needed that, and it's like the perfect Harbaugh pick. So, McConkey, I think he looked pretty good actually overall. So, Raiders side of the ball. Raiders have a great defense, right? But beyond that, I feel like this offense is kind of middling. Gardner Minshew. Gardner had a pretty good game, like all for all intents and purposes. 257 and 1. He did throw a pick, but like he got a lot of yardage. And honestly, like I think they're gonna have to rely on Gardner more because I think their running backs are kind of hot ass.
Yeah,
I don't think Zamir White's very good.
Hey.
I kind of want to call it now that I think Adams tries to get off this team for a playoff team. Because
you got to target him more than 6 times.
Yeah, and he's getting older, and I think maybe Aaron Rodgers can say, "Hey, come play with the Jets." Like, we heard that kind of rumor during the offseason or last season. I think we might see something like that happen.
After seeing Aaron Rodgers more last night, which we'll get to in a second, I would not mind that.
Yeah. It would be pretty sexy.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Broncos Hawks 26-20. Seahawks win. Gave us a real scare in the first half with 2 back-to-back safeties, a muffed punt, or not, I guess not a muffed punt, a muffed punt return, and Geno throwing a pick in the first series. Really gross start, but we turned it around. And I was loving watching K9 just absolutely dominate on the ground. Dude looked phenomenal.
Yeah, he was awesome. I kind of want to boast a little bit because I called this exactly how I was going to go. First half, very slow. New offense, new defense, just getting everything kind of gelling together. That's why when all that shit happened, like I was at Lions fan 42069's house. I was sitting next to Broncos fan 42069. And I was just chilling, just drinking my beer.
Was he gassing up the Broncos? Was he like, hell yeah,
no,
like we're going to win this game?
No, because he probably understood it just as I did, like that everything that's happening is just like, you kind of want to tame your expectations, especially at first, you can't get too hyped, especially when they don't really capitalize off of that interception, what they go and kick a field goal. Maybe if you go and score a touchdown, it's a little different. But our offense and defense has really stepped up, changed some things coming out of that half, and it was just a different team coming out in the second half.
Yeah, for sure. And I gotta shout out Broncos fans, not the Broncos fan, but just Broncos fans in general. They came to cheer on Bo Nix and their team, man. They were out at Lumen Field. There was a lot of Broncos fans there, and I was genuinely surprised by the amount of cheers that the team was getting. So that was kind of fun to see.
That was cool.
But I think one piece of this game that I just really want to quickly touch on and how much I'm excited for the remainder of the season is just our defense, Coop. Absolutely. I thought our corners looked fantastic. Our pass rush was great. We were shutting down the run. I haven't seen us defend against a running back, I think, in my lifetime that well.
Yeah.
Like that was awesome to see. And it just makes me really excited for the future and to really put our defense to the test against better teams. Like we play the Patriots this week. Ramondre is a great running back, so maybe we see a little more this week. But
right.
It's a bright future with Big Mac. So I'm excited about it.
Agreed. Sorry, KDawg. I know we're just kind of hyping our team up here, but this wasn't just the Broncos.
He'll have his time.
I think, and then we got the Patriots. So Dolphins, Lions, like those next 2 games, that's gonna be a great time to see really what this defense is about because I don't know yet with the Broncos. Bo Nix back there, so I expect them to continue to do pretty well, but you gotta wait and see for now.
Yeah, and then Broncos. I think there's a lot that need to clean up, lots to improve on. I thought, I mean, PS2 shut down Metcalf,
I mean, there was
yeah,
a play where he I mean, I feel like Metcalf kind of had his moments too against PS2, you know.
yeah. That's why he's one of the best corners in the league and paid as
Yeah,
such. So,
absolutely.
Broncos
KDawg,
fans,
you got nothing here, buddy?
What's up?
You got nothing? I haven't heard anything.
Sorry. I mean, I don't have much to say. I didn't really catch this game, to be honest. The Seahawks.
well,
I was watching another game. The Seahawks won a game they should have. I did have one really weird stat to share on this game that I saw. So the Seahawks, their last 4 head coaches, in each of their first game, they've turned the ball over on the first drive of that game.
really?
Oh,
It was
That's
really
crazy.
dating all the way back to Mike Holmgren's first game.
Wow.
But they've also won all 4 of those games. So I don't know. I just thought that was a really weird stat.
We're a blessed franchise.
it was weird.
All right, well let's let KDawg get his time to shine here. Let's talk about the boys. 33-17 over the Browns. KDawg, what do you got for us? What'd you like about your team?
I mean, this is about as good as I could have hoped for in this game. Like, I mean, this is kind of best case scenario. I mean, we expected this to be a close game. I wasn't even feeling that good necessarily against a Browns defense at home. But yeah, I mean, the story of this game, Cowboys defense looked great under a new regime. They dominated this game. Of course, we'll caveat, the Cleveland, in my opinion, they're probably a bottom 10 offense in the league. So I'm not going to get like too excited about that. They will be tested next week when they play the number 1 offense in the NFL, the Saints. But
Nice.
But the offense, if you look at the stats, the offense didn't look too good statistically. But you got to remember that pretty much at the start of the second half of the game, the Cowboys were up 3 scores, and they played very conservatively from then on. So I think that's part of that. Yeah, I mean, they look pretty good. First play of the game, Zeke hurdled some guy. So I thought I was having flashbacks to prior seasons. But yeah, it's fun seeing him out there. Yeah, good win.
Would you guys? Oh, go ahead, Coop.
I have no idea why the Browns were favored, to be honest. Like, I felt like the Cowboys were going to be the obvious winners here. Deshaun looked like cheeks, man. Like,
He's so bad. He's so freaking bad.
I understand this Browns defense is good, but that was when Flacco was like putting up points and staying on the field and making it a competitive game. If Deshaun can't do that, then this defense is going to be gouged just as bad as any other, So I think it's just kind of like a testament to how well Flacco kind of fit into this offense versus Deshaun.
Would you guys rather have Bryce Young, Deshaun Watson, or Daniel Jones as your quarterback, as your franchise quarterback?
It's got to be Deshaun.
Actually, let's play the game. F, Mary, kill. Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young.
I'm going to answer your original question. I'll just say
the correct response was kill Deshaun Watson because he's a terrible human being.
I would take Bryce Young probably. Yes, just because I think the talent's there. He's a good person, and I think the other 2 are just kind of like there's too much bad juju going on. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a good answer. I was going to say Deshaun, but I like your answer better.
Who would you rather have as a quarterback? Would you rather have Sam Darnold or Deshaun Watson?
Darnold looked pretty good.
Give me Darnold all day of the week.
Yeah, give us Darnold in a good situation.
All right. Last one. Justin Fields or Deshaun Watson?
I kind of like Justin Fields, to be honest. So.
Yeah, me too. All right, put in Jameis. That's what we just came to. That's the conclusion we got to. Yeah, he's terrible.
I mean, I'm just keeping that controversy away from my team, bro. I mean, we already heard a couple more sexual assaults come out.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah. Yeah, Browns. I mean, it's just going to be a story of how I think their season's really hemorrhaged on, or that's not the right word. Their season's going to depend on that defense and how much they can hold offenses down because
it's hemorrhaged too.
their defense, or their offense ain't doing anything. Bucks Commanders, or should I call it the Bakers? Took on the Commanders 37-20. Baker Mayfield went nuts. Mike Evans went nuts. Chris Godwin had a great day. Our boy Jalen McMillan, UW, got a tutty.
Yeah.
And Commanders defense trash. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
have anything more to say about this game.
That's kind of a bad showing for that new Dan Quinn defense over there.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know.
KDawg is celebrating. Were you celebrating about that one too, KDawg?
Yeah, of course. You see Baker throw 4 touchdowns on him, of course. There's actually quite 3 or 4 players who were Cowboys last year who are now on the Commanders, unfortunately. But yeah, rough game for them. But I still think I'm impressed by the Buccaneers. I think we underrated them a bit. I think they're still here to stay as a fringe wild card team. Maybe even winning the division, actually, in that division.
They could. They could.
Yeah, they definitely could. Commanders. I don't know. Jalen Daniels didn't play too bad, so that's a silver lining.
I mean, he's doing the Lamar show. He was 16 for 88 and 2 touchdowns. He had 3 fumbles. Didn't lose any of them, but he had 3 fumbles.
Oh, really?
So hold the ball a little tighter there, my man. He also passed for 184 yards. Honestly, not a bad day overall for him. The one we also saw, I think Brian Robinson, he was pretty good through the air. He was 3 for 49, and Eckler was actually pretty good through the air, 4 for 52. So, they seem to be like the Jaden Daniels show plus check down to your running back is kind of what that offense looks like right now. Yeah, and then Bucky Irving kind of popped off too, man, for the Bucks.
Yeah,
9 for 62.
Looks like Rachaad White is going to be relegated to the 3rd down back pretty soon. It seems like.
Yeesh. Buccaneers impressed me. Baker, I always had this real big hate spot for him for some reason. I think I've always kind of prayed for his downfall in a way.
Why though?
So,
what about your?
I don't know.
Was it something in your childhood?
This is me coming to terms with me not understanding why. But see him go out there. 24 for 30, dude. That's 80%. That's crazy.
I do want to toot my horn. I feel like I've been calling Baker a good quarterback for the last couple of years.
I think it's because you try to. You're like memeing with it.
It definitely started as a meme.
This was the perfect storm for it to be
here we go.
It just kind of worked out in your favor.
You guys find so many ways to discredit my takes. I was right about Lamar. I was right about Baker. Come on. They don't call me Prophet J for nothing.
Okay, let's just say I don't know if you're right about Lamar, first off. And you just kind of stumbled into this one.
Stop.
Because you're like, oh, this guy can dance good for a white guy. It's funny. His GIFs are funny.
That never was the case. That was never the crux of my argument.
I think
he's got swag.
This Commanders offense is gonna kind of get better. Jeez, I'm looking for a better word than that. It's gonna get better throughout the season.
Improve.
Improve. Flashes of it. Jaden Daniels, Heisman quarterback. He looked good on the ground. If we see some sort of Lamar light type of season, I don't know. They'll get some sneaky wins, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had to take Commanders versus Panthers right now, you'd probably take Commanders, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's not sneaky.
All right. Let's put the finishing touch on the recap with these last 2 games. Lions versus the Rams on Sunday Night Football up in Detroit. 26-20 in an overtime win for the Lions, which again, I would like to repeat, the overtime rules are stupid. So dumb because they won on a coin. I think whoever won the coin toss was winning that game in my mind.
That's how it's always been.
I know it doesn't mean it should be right.
Yeah, which makes you wonder, what did they exactly change?
Nothing, but they need to be changed. Anyways, how about Cooper Kupp and his 21 targets?
Yeah, that was just
crazy. He's an absolute beast.
Well, that's what happens if Puka Nakua gets hurt, though.
I mean, even when Puka was in the game, though, like just hyper targeting Cup.
It's pretty even though to start.
Sure. All right.
It was.
Mr.
It's like,
Mr.
okay,
Curse.
Puka,
you don't get to say
Puka,
anything nice about Puka
Cooper,
after what
Puka,
you did to him.
All right, whatever.
You
And then
a
Colby
hoe.
Parkinson every once in a while.
You a hoe for that one. You know what I found interesting, and I'm kind of makes me nervous for. And this is totally like not really relevant to the Rams, but for a fantasy perspective, Blake Corum did not get one carry in that game, which I always thought he was the
You're
backup.
starting him in fantasy?
No, I didn't. I did. There was somebody in our league that did though, and
For real?
actually, the backup is Ronnie Rivers. I thought that was interesting. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Matt Stafford, I thought looked pretty good overall, and then obviously, like we're not even talking about the best team here, the Lions. Like the running backs both went nuts, both Montgomery and Gibbs. Jamison Williams had I think we can call this a breakout game. I know we try to find a breakout.
I agree.
Definition, but this was, in my opinion, this is a breakout. Like he said,
absolutely.
Hey, I'm here. Look at me.
Yeah, I mean, when Amon-Ra only gets 3 catches for 13, and then you got your Jamison Williams gambling addict getting 5 for 121.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Dog out there, man.
Yeah, he looks really good. And it actually like it does make me a little nervous for Amon-Ra. I'm not saying like he's a bad. So no, hear me out. I'm not saying he's a bad player, and like he's I don't think he'll be bad this year. I'm struggling to find a synonym for bad. Gross. Terrible. Awful. No good. I'm just nervous that now we're adding a decent wide receiver 2 into the mix when we already have Laporta, who is basically a wide receiver 2. We have Montgomery. We have Gibbs. Like we're getting to the point where like there's more mouths to feed on the Lions than there are the 49ers. No, which is to say a lot.
I think so. Jamo and Amon-Ra played 2 completely different styles of game. I mean, we saw it with Jamo. You get 5 receptions for 121. That's because he's going down the field, stretching the field. Amon-Ra's bread and butter has always been middle of the field. And that's not going to change. If anything, that's Sam Laporta eating into his targets. And Sam Laporta didn't have very many targets. I think it was just kind of like how it shook out at the end. We're not going to see that going forward. I wouldn't overreact with that type of thing. If anything, it's going to make Amon-Ra even better, in my opinion.
Take some of the coverage off of him. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Also, special shout out to Aiden Hutchinson. He looked super good.
Yeah, he almost completed my Shmokin Hot Take.
Yeah, he almost did. KDawg, you want to say anything about this one?
Yeah, I mean, these are just 2 good teams. I guess we know when these 2 teams play, we're going to have a good game. It was the same case in the playoffs last year. Went down to the wire. So, yeah, 2 good games. The Lions have gotten the best of them both times, though. So, yeah, the Lions. I mean, the goal was to win that game, and they did. So, it was close, but they're just 2 good teams. So, yeah, it was fun to watch.
All right. And then last game, Monday Night Football, 49ers trampled the Jets. Aaron Rodgers returned to the NFL, 32-19. I feel like we saw the first drive off, or the first couple drives for the Jets was awful. And then that third drive, they ended up scoring a touchdown. I thought it was really good. Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers looks like they had a great connection. And
that was special. Some of those balls.
Special to say the least, yeah. And I mean, I think the story here is just like Jordan Mason and Deebo Samuel just absolutely carried this offense. Maybe Christian McCaffrey isn't as good as we really think, right? Because if they just plugged in an undrafted guy and he did that, who's Christian McCaffrey? I mean, maybe they plug Coop in, and Coop could do that. You never know.
I would do better than Kittle. I can tell you that.
Yeah, he looked not great. But, I mean, the 49ers, guys, like with Ayuk, who clearly was not... I mean, the broadcast is calling him... They're basically calling him a fat boy on there, saying, oh, he's sluggish, he's slow. But like the 49ers look really good, in my opinion. The offense like was clicking with basically just Jordan Mason and Debo. Kittle wasn't really doing anything. Juwan Jennings got in the mix a little bit. And then the defense was just lights out. Like they were stopping Breece Hall for the most part. They let Wilson kind of, have his one drive where he had 4 catches, then held him to 2 the rest of the game. Like I think the 49ers look even better than I thought they would be this season, personally.
So I think after this game, I'm actually more confident now. Like if the Seahawks were to play them this week, that we could beat them. Part of that's obviously Christian McCaffrey's not in there, the big boogeyman. I know Jordan Mason went off and stuff, but I don't think this team looks like anything completely special. I think the Jets defense looked like complete ass cheeks. Like that was the big shocker for me. I was going into this game, I had swooped up the Jets defense to play them later on in the year, not this game, obviously, but I thought they would look a lot better than this. You let Jordan Mason, who is not Christian McCaffrey, to look like Christian McCaffrey. Purdy, I was just waiting for Purdy to make a mistake, and he never did. Maybe that's a testament to him.
That's his game, though, man. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and just
Garrett Wilson. Maybe I know he got a little, or not Garrett Wilson. Sorry, Sauce. He got a little banged up early in the game, so that was probably part of it. I know one of their defensive linemen kind of got banged up too, but that was a big shocker to me. I thought the defense would at least keep him into it, but it ended up being the defense was the reason they lost, and the offense just couldn't keep up with the Niners at that point.
KDawg?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I learned anything about the 49ers here. They're as good as advertised. We all have them as the second best team in the league.
Yeah.
And they're playing.
I had the Lions, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, you had them third. Whatever.
Stay tuned to next episode to see if I have them ranked higher.
I focus more on the Jets here. This was just there couldn't have been a tougher game for them to start out against. I think in playing the 49ers. I do think we need to reset our expectations with the Jets a little bit. I don't know how many people are seriously talking about them going to the Super Bowl this year, but the Jets, at this point, I don't think it's even a given that they make the playoffs, even if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy.
Agreed.
We just haven't seen it. It's all. Yeah, I think I did too, actually. But I think that I was a little bullish on that because it's kind of like on paper we think that should happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the case. And you could argue I'm still believing in the Falcons, but it could be the same case there too, where like it's on paper we think, oh, they're obviously going to be improved. They got the offense together, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. And if the defense is either the 49ers offense is really good or the Jets defense has regressed, and that's going to be an issue too. So.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I was just really happy to see Aaron Rodgers play, to be honest, and
make it through a game.
Yeah, and that means we get to see him play another game. And we're watching history here. Like he's obviously a Hall of Famer, and to see some of the throws he made, I kind of alluded to it earlier. Like a couple throws he had to Garrett Wilson, like the first completed pass to Garrett Wilson, he just threw it right at the back of the defender's helmet, and Garrett Wilson just came up and grabbed it.
Dude, he was zipping.
Another one. Yeah, to Lazard. It was just like, right needed to be. So that was really fun to watch. So I hope I just see a lot more of that. And we will, because he won't be playing the Niners every week. So
yeah. Bright spots ahead. I thought Lazard actually looked pretty darn good in this game too.
Did.
Might be a sneaky waiver pickup.
Yeah, but that's the. So.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Let's.
Was Mike Williams active this game?
I think he was. I don't know if he did anything.
Like one out, bro.
He didn't have a catch.
I think he had one target or something like that.
KDawg's favorite wide receiver, Mike Williams.
That's unfortunate.
Didn't you put Mike Williams in your top 10 wide receivers this year?
No. No, let's relax. No.
All right.
He is on one of my fantasy teams, though. That is true.
Hell yeah. That's what we like to hear. All right. All right, before we wrap up this episode, real quickly, tell me one player and or team that you want to sign or you want to You want to ring the alarm bells on? Who do you guys not? Who are you guys proclaiming dead already, or close to dead?
I don't want to proclaim them dead, but I'm gonna say the Packers. I mean, going into the season, there were a lot of people's Super Bowl picks. Seemed like the up and coming team, but now dropping that game and with Jordan Love out a few weeks, I think Malik Willis is terrible. He looked awful with the Titans last year, so they're in trouble. If they're a wild card team, it's they can't really make a Super Bowl run most likely. So,
Coop, who you got?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and say the Browns here. We saw them making the playoffs last year. I just think with Deshaun back there, man, I was kind of a believer last year, or not a believer. It's kind of a weird word to use when you're talking about Deshaun. But I was hoping he would come back to some sort of form. I just think that's not going to be the case. And as good as this Browns team was last year, there's no shot at them making the playoffs this year.
All right, and I'm going to pick a player. I'm going to call for Calvin Ridley to be dead. I think he is not going to succeed on this.
All right,
Titans
I'll give you
offense.
another one just because he did a player. I think Alexander Madison is end up going to be the one running back one on the Raiders.
I do too. Believe it or not, I do too.
Zamir White.
I still believe in Zamir White. But we'll see. He did have a rough game, but so did the entire offense.
All right, fellas, that was our recap. Longer than expected, however, fun. Last thing I'll say before we sign out is make sure to follow and give us a rating on Spotify. Check out Shmokin Hot Takes on YouTube and check it out on TikTok and Instagram and check out the Twitter. I know Coop was pumping out some sick memes on Sunday, right, Coop? Nah, he wasn't. He gone. All right. You guys have anything else to say before we go?
No.
No.
All right, they're out of here.
I think.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Adios. Shmokin.
Shmokin.